Hello, everybody. It's Daphne from Laura Entertainment. We are sitting here with Marti King Young. She has worked on productions such as Annabelle, The Conjuring, along with doing many, many more things. So tell us about yourself, Marty.
Oh my gosh. I'm a writer, I'm a director, I produce from time to time. It's whatever's needed. I've worked in locations, I've worked in as a production assistant. I'm a producer's assistant right now on an ABC series called Will Trent. And it's just, it's crazy. That's me, everything. Marty of all trades.
That's how I feel anymore. And
Yep.
wanting to teach me how to operate cameras, I'm like, I don't need no more jobs. I do everything already. I don't need no more jobs. So, what do you like doing
Yep. I
best?
had a mentor tell me, do what? I'm sorry.
What do you
I talked
prefer?
over you.
You're fine.
Oh, I really love directing because I am really good at reaching people right where they're at. But I also love writing too because I love finding the emotional core of something. And producing, I hate, but I'm really good at it because I don't let anything fall to the side. So it's like one of those necessary evils, you know. I learned that I was good at it, and I've watched enough things now, and I've been privy to enough bigger things now where I can see how important certain types of prep are now. So, yeah, with that. But I love directing. I love being able to break things down, working with people, and being like the cheerleader on set, kind of, and you set the tone for people. I like that. As a writer, you don't really get to do that. You just get to go, hey, this is the tone of the film, and then other people are in charge. So I really like that. But I do it all.
Writing is really, I mean, it's hard, but it's not, depending on what you're writing about, the writer's block, good lord, but I mean, I think I adjusted with writing because in school and college, which is funny because I have a degree and nothing I'm never going to use now. Um, we'd have to write like 28-page papers every 2 days. So it
Yeah.
wasn't, a big deal as far as writing. The directing, I actually liked it the other day when I played director, but producing, you're right. I mean, it's honestly, it's a pain in the ass sometimes, you know?
It is
Yeah.
because everybody, you have to trust people to follow through, but at the same time, you're also that sort of like that bulldog that's making sure people are following through, the department heads and
Yeah.
everything. And I don't like doing that, but I mean, you have to somewhere. So I'm always when I produce, I'm always having a plan A, B, C, and D, like if this falls through, like pivot, like how fast can we pivot? And that's saved my butt more than a time or two. But yeah, it is a pain in the butt. It is. It really is. I wish I could just trust people to do their jobs and everything would be great. And I would just be like, oh, all I have to do is direct. And usually I'm winding up doing both.
Right. I know. I mean, I love always having plan A, B, C,
Yeah.
regardless with anything. It doesn't matter what it is, anything. I've always got that. One skill they teach motorcyclists: when you're riding on a motorcycle or when you're driving the motorcycle, you always have to have those exit strategies. So you got to hang back a little, before you know which way you're going to have to go.
Yeah.
Just in
Yeah.
case. And it's actually a good thing in life too if you use that in life because yeah, there are the moments and some people don't follow through.
Yeah.
They
Oh yeah.
don't. And that really sucks because people should be, they should keep their word if they're going to
Yeah.
do this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So how
agree.
long have you been doing this? You've been doing this for 25 years?
Oh, I'd probably say about 20 years. I started off well, my dad worked for NBC, so I grew up in television. Um, and then I moved to Nashville and I went to school. I got married, got divorced, put myself through school, put myself on an ambulance so I could take care of the kids because I could do that like in one semester. So I was an EMT for like 6 or 7 years. I got tired of my back getting hurt, and so I was like, "I need to get out of this." So I got a job at Vanderbilt, in charge of, the student health program there, and from there, I found out that you could, audit classes, 1 a semester, and I was reading this book about screenwriting called Your Screenplay Sucks: 100 Ways to Make It Great by William Akers, and I loved it. And I was like, "Oh, I wonder if they've got a film program." And I looked it up and they did. And I was like, "I wonder if they have a screenwriting program." And it was the author of the book. And he was doing it. And I was like, "It's a sign." So I audited all the classes. So I basically have a Vanderbilt film degree, but no paper to prove it. But from there, he became my mentor. He's a really good friend now. He got me my first job, and then from there, it's just all. It's always just been, somebody calls and checks up on you, and and then it's all people. It's all relational. And so then I've been working ever since. And then I moved from Nashville to Atlanta after about probably 8 years of doing that. And then I've been here for 5 years.
So where are you right now?
I'm in Atlanta.
In Atlanta?
Yeah.
Traffic. I hate the traffic down there.
It is the vortex of hell. All
Oh my
I
god.
can say.
I know I'm gonna agree with you on that because when I came down there, the one time, and it was 7:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, hell no." Hell
It's
no.
all the time. It's like that at 1 in the morning. I'm like, "What is going on? Why? Why?" And then, oh my gosh, and then when Taylor Swift was here, I was like, "I'm not even going outside. I'm not even going outside." I just stayed indoors. It was
Man.
insane. It's
I
awful. I tell everybody, especially incoming directors on our show, they're like, "Oh, we're 30 minutes or we're 15 minutes away from the studio." And I'm like, "Give yourself an hour. Give yourself an hour to drive." "Oh no, we'll be here. It's 15 minutes." "Nope." And they would be like, "We should have given ourselves an hour to drive." And I'm like, "Called it."
like California when you're going down the highways down there and, "Oh, we'll be there in a half an hour. See you in about 5."
Yeah.
You should have left a couple hours earlier.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's the traffic is bad and the people drive stupid. And I don't understand not using turn signals. And I don't understand driving in the fast lane and slowing down to like 30 miles an hour. I don't understand that. Like, move. Just move.
You got the road rage like I do. Get out of my way.
Yes. Like, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. And then they can't figure out four-way stops. And God help you if you find a roundabout, because nobody in America seems to know how to use those. And I'm like, it's so simple. Please just yield and go. Yield and go. You don't have to wait. Sorry. Okay. A lot of angst on that.
The first time, I mean, because the way where I grew up, I mean, it was all back roads and stuff. I mean, I grew up in Vegas, but when I moved back here, and they actually built a roundabout. So this was like my first roundabout experience as far as driving. I went like in the circle and I'm like, what the hell? Can't it just take me to the damn road? So finally, you know what I mean? It kind of cut off. I'm like, okay, I get it now. But it was weird because I was just circling. I'm like, okay, what the hell? And
It's
finally,
like, I know, it's like that scene out of Christmas or not Christmas or Family Vacation where they're like, "Look, kids, Big Ben Parliament." They just keep going around Big Ben because he doesn't know how to get out of the circle. Oh my gosh.
that
Yeah, it's
me.
crazy.
Might have actually been me. So, what was it like to work on the set of The Conjuring?
It was really, really fun. We had such a blast. I was on The Conjuring 3. Um, and it was really, really fun. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, absolutely beautifully people, just beautiful people. Just they care about the cast, they care about the crew. They're amazing. Um, we had a little boy on the set. He was always fun. We had a lady who was just as tall as the little boy. She was our contortionist. So when he like gets possessed or whatever, she's the one who's like cracking her bones and everything. So they're both running around in PJs together. It was like something out of The Shining. But it was really, really fun. It was I mean, I just remember a lot of laughter and, I think it was Gary Doberman's first time to direct, and, No, he didn't do that one. I'm sorry, this was Michael Schaaf's. So he had just finished La Llorona, and he was on here. So he was so excited. His enthusiasm was absolutely infectious. So Michael Schaaf's would go to every department, and he would be like, "Hey," and we just like all jump. I was working on locations on that one, and he'd be like, "I just want you to know, I'm so glad y'all are here. We wouldn't have any of these sets if it wasn't for you. Thanks, locations." And he'd go down and he'd be like, "Editing. I wouldn't have a movie if it wasn't for you." You could just hear him like making the rounds. So that part was great. It was a lot of fun. It was we had I that was the first time I had ever worked in locations, and I was the coordinator on that one.
Mhm.
So I learned a lot of things. Like, I didn't know that locations was in charge of all of the porta potties and the water mains. I didn't know that they were in charge of anything like that, or setting up trash bins, how many trash cans we need and stuff like that. So that was a really new experience for me. And so I learned a lot, made a lot of really good friends that I still talk to this day. But it was fun. We had some spooky stuff go on. We had a piece um that was supposed to be the totem, and there was a girl there who is a card carrying Satanist. And so they would go to her, and she would tweak it to make it be authentic for whatever this witch was. And I was like, okay. So it kept disappearing, and nobody knew where it was. Like we had a very good props department. Like, when it was on the cart, nobody went near props. And it would just be off and we found it, like, I think two stages over, like, burned. We're just like, who is doing, and no, none of the like, no CCTV footage, anything like that. It
Wow.
was just weird. So yeah. And we would have an exorcist come out to the set. He would come out, I think he came out 3 times total through the whole thing. Uh, he gave us a blessing when we first started. We were doing some things. We kept having problems, I think, with one of the closets, or it was the kitchen, and he came out and they had to do it again. And they were like, "Yeah, there's something here we need to address." So
Yeah.
they did that for a while, and we were hung back. And then afterwards, yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I'm
Have
glad
you
it was
heard the rumor about this movie though? The movies, not just that one.
there. Mhm.
I read something, when was it? Because I love the Conjuring movies.
I do too.
It was maybe before they made the second one, I'm thinking, or it could have been after. Maybe it was before the third one. That the scene, or the supposedly that the movie was cursed.
Hmm.
It was, I can't even honestly remember who wrote that or where I read that, but it was about, the filming of it, and it might have been back from, the first one that I'm
Yeah.
thinking. And as far as, like, the Annabelle and all those movies, like, supposedly this is what it stated in this article, that anything to do with that was basically cursed, and I'm like, I understand that sort of, because a lot of the movies about possession and stuff like that, I get it. And I mean, these stories are true, but they're adapted. But still, did you ever get that vibe when you were on the set? Outside of what you just told me about, did you ever get a vibe like that when you were on set?
Um, I didn't, but I remember Vera had said that on the first one, she would leave and she'd have scratches on her back. So they had to stop, and they brought in an exorcist from that. So I think they were bringing that on for her too. So she was getting scratches. On the second one, Joey King was in it, and she had some sort of problem where she had to go get blood transfusions, and they said there was a problem with her blood, and as soon as she wrapped, it was fine. She was completely fine. She's never had that problem since, but they were literally having to do her entire schedule around, I think, blood transfusions, if I'm not mistaken. So when this came on, everybody was like, if you see something weird, say something now. Like, it was like, don't hold it to yourself, please. We want to know. No one's going to laugh at you. um I don't think I think we had, I'm trying to think, on the Annabelle movie, because I was on Annabelle Comes Home, we had a weird thing in the artifact room where the artifact room started shaking on its own. And it was, yeah, and it was unplugged, I think, because Bob Shelley was our guy, and he was like, that shouldn't be doing that. And everybody just sort of cleared out. And then the exorcist was brought in for that one. Um but as I didn't think we had any problems with the cast getting sick, but again, I was in locations and I wasn't on that set very much as I was on like Annabelle. Annabelle was really fun. And McKenna Grace was in that one and she's so cute.
Well, I ask because I mean, I have some people don't believe in paranormal, some people do. I do. I actually have footage. I have an EVP of this house.
Oh
I've
my.
been hit in the chest here.
Ew.
I had taken a picture and I had sent it out to a couple people because I was concerned about the picture. I'll send that to you. I'll show you after we're done.
Yeah.
Um, just wondering, well, one medium was so worried that she wouldn't even text me back, about it. This other medium, because in the picture, like this eye right here is completely blacked out. This eye is about to black out. My nose was not my nose. My hair, there was a different color of hair underneath my hair. And
Oh,
I'm just trying to figure out like what the hell's going on. So the woman had made the statement that I needed an exorcism. I'm like, so I reached out to a church, three of them, and they're more
yeah.
like, oh, you're on your own because I have never gotten response back from 'em.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Why I asked because I'm really curious about paranormal stuff like that. But it was
Yeah.
just weird that it's happened to me. And I mean, this is something I have to deal with, but
Yeah.
it's just crazy. But I
Yeah.
mean, like when you get on certain sets and the vibes, and you can tell, but movies like that based on, truth, but you know how they're written,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it makes you wonder, you're pretty much just watching like, okay. Is anything moving on its own?
Right. Well, we would like they would be shutting off everything, and they were like, "Oh, can you go grab that?" And like I remember there were like PAs are like, "I'm not going in there by myself. I'm not going in there by myself. Someone's coming with me." Stuff like that. And that was weird. But I will say that I was scared to write any type of horror films. I've got ideas, but I was scared to write any horror films until I did Annabelle and the Conjuring because it sort of took that mysticism away from, you know what I'm saying? Like I could see you turn around and they're filming with Annabelle, and then you turn over and you see the props trailer, and you've got hero Annabelle, which is the Annabelle that's just sits in the chair, and then you've got rubber Annabelle, and that's the one you can throw all around when she attacks or whatever. And then you just have puppet Annabelle, and she just sits there, and she's got the stick up there where they turn her head, so she can look and blink her eyes or whatever. So and then they have just like parts, like Annabelle heads. There was a whole bottom shelf just of Annabelle heads with a little wig and everything. And I was just like, okay, so this is sort of taking this. Okay, I can do it like
I
that.
love
I'm gonna
horror
tell you,
movies though.
I am such a sissy though. I still have not seen Annabelle Comes Home because of that one shot of McKenna Grace like looking down under the covers and she's like looking up at her. And I'm like, how the heck did that doll get in your bed and you're not screaming right then? The moment I would have felt something in my bed, I would have been like, no, but I can't.
Wow.
I haven't even watched it. I've seen The Conjuring 3, but I
I
didn't.
I binge watched all of them. I mean, because I hadn't seen the third one, and I think I made it like halfway through, and then I got sidetracked with something of the second one. So I sat down one night and binge watched them all. I
Yeah.
haven't seen all the Annabelles. I've seen the first one, and
Mm.
I might have seen part of the other one. Just like, I mean, I love making horror movies because I was on Wrong Turn too, and I still I know what we were doing and I knew, the concept of the movie, but I have the movie, but I've only made it through halfway of that too.
Yeah.
It was like, what I mean? Hey, but horror movies, people don't get that because they'll always ask me, like, what's your favorite that you go? I'm like, I love horror movies. I really do. But I mean,
Yeah.
I love all movies, but horror, it's just fun because you get to throw blood and all this other crazy stuff is going on. And I'm sorry, it's fun as hell. I
Oh,
love it.
yeah. Our special effects crew and our visual effects crew love I mean, that's their jam, They get to do all this stuff. It's great. They love it. And, it was a really yeah, those 2 are definitely my some of my fun ones that I are in my memory as just being completely fun. I loved it. I loved them.
So in the future, because I didn't know about NDAs and all that great stuff, do you have this could be a yes or no question, any more horror movies on the horizon? for yourself?
That I'm gonna write or that
Or even be a part of, either or?
I don't have anything in the future that I'm going to be a part of right now. I'm in the process of writing a trilogy of horror films, supernatural horror. Um, and but they're gonna need a lot of work, I can tell, because I don't watch them enough to know the correct beats, if you want to say it like that, where people but and I don't write jump scary stuff. I mean, every once in a while you can throw it in there, but I like suspense more than surprise. So, and that's a harder type of writing because you have to the audience has to be in on the secret and you can't let the character be in on the secret, so they know it's coming and your character can't. So I've got a first draft of the first one, and then the second one it's going to like follow a kid, and then she's going to be like in her teenage years, I think, and then she's going to be older. So that's it's going to be like the trilogy, just following her life.
So, I mean, do you have any tips later for aspiring, anybody aspiring wanting to be in this business? Because this business, it's hard and people just think it's so easy, but it is not easy. It's hard.
It's very hard. I would probably say if somebody's trying to break in, to see if your state has a film commission, to because usually there's a website, and I don't know how other states do it. For Tennessee and for Georgia, they list like everything that's coming to town or what's around them, and this production companies have their email addresses, and so you can write and ask, to be an office PA or a PA just to start off. And then once you start doing that, you just start meeting people. People say that you should network, and I don't really like that term at all, because networking to me is like you go to a really stuffy soiree and people are at high boy tables drinking gin or something and trading war stories, and you're just trying to hand out your business card. And I think it should just be called making friends, because that's how you're going to get jobs. You just go to somebody and you find out if you vibe or not, and if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
They're going to have a completely different niche of anything that you're going to work on. Like, this is really, people think it's such a competition. It's really not, because your voice is separate and different than everybody else's, and you're always going to bring something that's different, whether it's in your directing or your ability to manage while you're producing or with your writing. So I would just say, go hang out with sets and go hang out on sets and be nice to people. Or if there's not a film commission, check the local universities to see if they have film classes, there. And you don't have to take the classes. I mean, if you're an actor, you can sit there and you can send in your resume to them, because the students have to make films. So then you start getting acclimated with kids when they're starting out. A lot of people toss that aside too, but those kids are going places, like 20 years ago, who was JJ Abrams making Lost, right? But before that, everybody was like, oh, he's a cute little kid, right? I mean, and then also get to know the assistants of people, like directors assistants and producers assistants,
Yeah.
because I tease people and I say I produce the producer, which is exactly true. you know I know when the meetings happen, and I know what happens in the meetings, and I know timings, and I know how to check ahead of things. So if there's questions, they always want to help, and also respect them too, because they're not always going to be assistants. Some people like to forget that too, and they just think we're just some lowly position. And while we are, and we don't have like a union for assistants, it's still, we're the ones who are making content and doing things on our own too.
Yeah.
So it's all about making friends. It's all about just getting yourself out there, getting your name known. Don't be pushy, just be helpful. If you go like with altruism on your mind, and just be like, how can I help you? I really just want to help you. And you don't ask for anything in return. You're going to find people opening doors for you all over the place, because you're not reeking of desperation, and you're not coming across like some weird leech. Them when you see them. And
Yeah.
so do producers and directors, and you can feel it. And everybody's met some people like that before, and nobody likes to be around them. And nobody likes to be
Let me
around
bring
people
this
with
to your attention, and this is
Oh,
something that I've had an actual issue with. Um, okay, how do you feel about actors that are just going up and down people's IMDb pages and contacting people like
oof.
producers, directors, people that they really people that have affiliation to films. Um, what's your opinion on that? Because there are people
I
that do that.
Yeah, I think because I'm on the other side of that, so I see when these things come through, and it makes those people look extremely amateurish because they should have an agent that's doing that for them to get them their jobs, and it does not help them. And I know that everybody says there's not a blacklist in Hollywood, but there's a blacklist. And everybody has one. Every producer, every director has one. There's people that they will not work with. And when stuff like that pops up, that usually winds where they wind up. I mean, if it's a different, I mean, if you're just reaching up out of the blue, you don't have anything to talk about, you don't know that person. See, you're networking, and it comes across as networking, a leech, and desperation, and they're not going to respond to that. So
Exactly.
that's what
Exactly.
I
I've
say.
had I've actually had that happen. People reaching out to people that they should not be reaching out to, in
Yeah.
my opinion, is well, nobody's going to work with you if you're doing that. You first you got to earn that right in this business to be able to contact people,
Yeah.
don't contact these people if you're just an actor. It's not right, and it's not good. It's never going to look good on you because they think the industry's so big that people don't talk, and that's where they're wrong.
It is right. Such a small contained industry. I know it looks so big because we're so spread out, but it's insane. Like I work with people in Atlanta, and I'll get called out from LA. You know what I'm just saying? Like everybody knows everybody. Um, I worked with like on Class of '09 that just dropped on Hulu. I worked on that. Our first AD that came over, Chris Kringle, and yes, that's really her name.
I like that
um, she,
though.
yeah, right. We and then I found out that she had worked with my best friend out there with Joe Carroll, and I was like, we both know Joe. So then we started taking pictures, so and now we're friends for like forever. So it's just stuff like that. It's just everybody knows everybody, everybody talks. And if it's not, I don't know a certain person, I flip and guarantee you it's less than 3 degrees away from the person I'm talking to.
Mhm.
It's just don't be that person. Whatever you do, please don't be that person. Just don't get yourself some representation and help out. Just help other people.
I know.
That's all I can
I don't think they realize like how irritating it is. You know what I mean? Because me, I'm on every side pretty much. I mean, I do, acting, but I do the management, and then I run lore, and I also do producing, and now apparently I'm directing and editing. I mean, you work your way through the channels, but I mean, I've been doing this for a while, you know. So of course I become friends with everybody I work with. I'm a people person, big time. Like I love
yeah,
people. But when people are sitting there
I
and
feel that.
yeah, I mean, you just watch them do like the dumbest things, and then they want to say, "Oh, well, you're being no, we can call." And I'm like, "No, you can't. You cannot just randomly call
Yeah.
somebody like that. It's not okay. It's not, but
There's an etiquette. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to earn your place, and earning your place is basically, show up, do the
Yeah.
job. Don't start, shit. Basically, go
Right, right,
do what you're there to do. You're going to meet different
right.
people on every single set. So make it count while you're
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
They'll be
And to
thinking
and to
about you.
earn your place too. Yeah, and right. And to earn your place too usually doesn't mean I can call them at whim. It usually might mean a text. Like I don't call anybody unless it is like a dire emergency or my producer says, call somebody and I'm like on it. because I've been told to call, right? I have a mission. But like, I don't sit there and I don't I don't call James Wan and be like, yo, congrats. I don't do that. I'll be like, maybe I'll send a congratulatory email, but that's it. And even then, I I didn't really, I mean, I was his assistant and he was great, but we didn't have that type of relationship. And I'm not going to force that type of relationship on somebody either. And then if it's not organic, it's not going to stick,
Yeah.
And I think if people would just take a second and be like, okay, if I was doing surgery, if I was a doctor performing surgery and I had everybody around me that I needed handing me the things I needed, would I want the janitor to poke their head in and go, psst, hey, you need anything here? Here's a scalpel. You need a scalpel? You want a scalpel? Hey, you want a scalpel? And you're sitting there trying to work on this thing that could bleed out at any moment. And you're like, no, get away from me. It's kind of like the same thing. Because the life or whatever project they are working on, it is literally like that to them,
Yeah.
So yeah, just shh. That's all
Yeah.
I have to
I
say.
mean,
Shh,
but
just it's
I think
okay.
once you are basically a part of the team and you're ready to go with these people to film and you've built that relationship. Because me, it starts with I prefer, the email first and then, we'll shoot a text. And then hell,
Yeah,
by the time we're normally bullshitting or talking anyway, so it's not going to matter. So then that's when I move it to the phone. Like, here's my
yeah,
real number. Call me on this number whenever, I don't care
yeah,
because I'm normally up late anyway. Everybody's on different time zones. So it's like going to sleep early for me is just like not an option, ever. But I mean,
same.
I'm a phone person. I'll text what I need. And then if it's important and I know those, what I've written, hey, just call me at this point. If you're going to write me a book, call me, pick up the phone. I have no problem with that. Just call,
Yeah,
if we've got that kind of relationship. If it's a
right, right.
random person that I really have not worked with long, then it's drop me a
Of course.
text, shoot me an email until we can get on board. And then, like you said, you just meet people. Sometimes you don't jive, and
Yeah,
that's when you just do your job and on to the next project. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
always
that's okay because I mean, there's been people that I don't particularly, I get along with everybody, but it's not somebody that I would go and hang out with after work. Let's just say that, right? It's just like, okay, I'm working very well with you because I have to, but you're not somebody that I was indifferent, right?
yeah.
But because I was always nice and pleasant and kind and, things like that, they still referred me to a job. It's better than, and that's helpful. That's networking, and I'm just like, I don't understand because I've seen people really do a lot of damage to their careers by like if they don't like somebody on a set, they just let everybody know they don't like the person on the set instead of just shh. You don't have to let everybody know. Just be quiet. And why? First of all, why are you having a problem with somebody? And why do you have to be that vocal about it? Grow up. You're not in the fourth grade, right? And then it's just, and then they've shot themselves in the foot so badly because number one, now they're gossiping about somebody, whether it's true or not, because I'm the type of person I'm like, I haven't heard both sides of this story. I'm not involved. I have not, unless I hear both sides, I'm not going to weigh in on this. That's just me. But, also because they're sort of like peddling the negativity around the set and everything. And that's just bad. It's just bad. Nobody, it's hard enough to make a movie, a show, a series, a webisode. It's hard enough. You don't need the extra stress of two people not being able to work together. Be a freaking team player. That's all I have to say. Thank
That's
you for
the way
coming to
I
my TED
feel
Talk
about
today.
it. And I mean, I've gotten called some pretty choice words about it, but I'm just like, look, we have work to do, and all of the bullshit basically is exactly what it is. It's bullshit. And that's when I normally get called them choice words, but I don't care because it doesn't offend me. I grew up with 8 brothers,
Oh my
whatever,
gosh.
whatever. And I mean, but I'm like, you just don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what it is. I'm brutally honest. A lot of people don't know how to take that, and they're just like, she's a bitch. And I'm like, it's not me being like that. It's just we have stuff we've got to do, and you guys, you're either on board or you're not. If I see you're going to be a problem before we get it started, you're gone as soon as I see the problems arising. And it doesn't matter to me. And I'm like that with everybody, and you got to keep the ship running. It's going to run, but I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a problem person, then you got to go. You got to go.
Yeah.
I can't do it at all. So do you have a motto that you live your life by? I ask everybody that one.
Oh my gosh, a motto. You
Mhm.
know, I do. My son created Wonder Boy, right? That's The Adventures of Wonder Boy. That was the short film I made for him. He's in it. And he's a superhero in Wonder Boy, obviously. And his motto is help others and make a difference today. And I think that is probably what it is. That's that's definitely it. Yeah. Help others and make a difference today. Um, yeah, that would be it. And of course, I mean, my mentor, he told me, if you learn how to do everything, you'll always have a job. And I saw some people who were like, well, I'm a director. I don't need a PA. And I was just like, well, I'm going to go PA and I'm a director because I'm going to go meet a new crew and I'm going to learn some stuff from these people, even if they're kids. You don't know where they're going.
Mhm.
You know, there was a girl that sat next to me in my screenwriting class, and now she's like one of the top agents over at CAA. I'm like, y'all don't know who we are. You never know who anybody is. So, but help others,
That's
make a
true.
difference. Even if it's just as little as walking past somebody like costumes or something and just go, you know what? I know nobody ever says this to you, but thank you for doing what you do and you're valuable. I see what you do. And they will all of a sudden bend over backwards because it's the payment, not even really a payment, but it's the acknowledgement of the hard work and the blood and sweat and tears that people do that will endear them to you. And I'm not saying that like that's what I go out to do. I mean, I'm not going around, being like, oh, I need to have a customer in my back pocket. I'm gonna go run to costume. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that. But I mean, it just genuinely help others, even if it's with your words. And that's what makes a difference, I think.
You
So
you learn so much. I mean, working on I think I've probably worked on almost every department. Almost. And it's just like I love to learn. That's my thing. I love to learn. So if it's something new to me, I'm like, okay, let's do it. If I know I can't do it, and I'll tell you, I can't do
yeah,
it. There's no way in hell I can do it. I'll admit I can't do it. But you're right. If you learn how to do everything, you will always have a job, no matter what it is. And
yeah.
you being useful, everybody starts somewhere. And that's what I try to tell a lot of people. I'm like, and you never really know who you're on them sets, just like short films. They bring bigger directors in for them short films. You'll never have a clue, or sound guys, or makeup, or anything that are working on big sets. You're never going to know. And they're taking notice of everybody that they're working with. That way, they can already see who will be a problem, and they're going to go back and talk. It's
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely one thing. Awesome. All right. So I think we are going to wrap this up. I want to say thank everybody for watching. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to Marty, definitely, for coming on. I definitely need more women to come on the show. Or, well, I mean, little series thing that I do, because I mean, it's all men. And I also just brought a woman director on, and they're like, well, we see you put a woman in. I was like, there's too many guys on the project. I'm like, that's a lot of just testosterone. I grew up with 8 brothers, so I'm used to being around guys, but damn, man, we need some women. And that's when I
Yeah,
started bringing in the women.
there
But
you go.
yeah, we're definitely saying thank you, Marty, and look forward to having you back. Definitely.
Hey, love to come back.
We're going to close out, and we will see you guys next time on Lore. Thank you for watching.
I know what you're thinking. I'm nearby when you're leaving, and you're only a kiss on your way out. you bless me?